Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. My name is Linda Baker with Milestone Realty, and I have the privilege and the honor of introducing you to Alisha. Alisha Pangburn is the owner of Sort Your Nest. She's a certified professional organizer. God knows I need professionally organized. Who is dedicated to helping others achieve a more organized life. Alisha collaborates with her clients to create personalized organizing solutions for their home and small business spaces. Her services include downsizing, decluttering, oh, I need decluttering, containerizing, and redesigning organized spaces, all while imparting valuable organizing skills to her clients. She also assists with downsizing before and unpacking after a move. Now you guys know why we're doing this here. And unpacking after a move, helping clients comfortably settle into their new home. She's a proud member of the South Bay Mastermind Group, the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals, serving on the Education Committee for her chapter, and the Women's Networking Alliance, where she currently serves as president of her chapter. When she's not organizing, I don't know how she's got time to not do anything else. But when she's not organizing, Alisha loves fitness, and that's actually how I know Alisha, because we met at our local gym. Coffee and spending time with friends, family, and her dog, Callie. So Alisha, thank you for joining us. I so appreciate it. And I also want to let people know that off camera, we have my associate, Sean Baker, and Sean is going to be monitoring any questions and answers. So as we're going through this, say hi, Sean.
Hello. Hello.
So as we are going through this, please put your any questions that you have into the Q&A, and Sean will be monitoring that. So that way I can just be talking to Alisha, and we're going to be having a conversation. Again, if you've got questions, Sean will be monitoring the Q&A, so he'll interject and at the appropriate moment and ask those. And then Alicia's got a full slide deck. So if you've got things that you want to refer back to, we'll be putting this all up on on the Milestone website. And not only that, we are also going to be having this. It's on Facebook Live, so you'll see it on the Milestone webpage, and we'll be putting it in, to our community newsletters and stuff. So that's it for now. So again, Alisha, thank you so much. I'm going to let you take it over from here.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And as soon as I'm host, I'll just start off with a few slides, and then we can just move on into conversation.
Oh, you want me to do okay, yeah. Folks, little inside, but what's the term? Is it inside baseball? Yeah, this is not my full-time gig is doing webinars. And so it's like, okay, please, she's going to ask me to do this again. I'm going to go, oh no, how did I do this last time I did this? So hang on. Oh, wait.
Not my full-time gig either.
Wait. And
wait for it. And I'm a host. Okay, let me work on sharing my screen now. Let's see if we can get this to work.
So sorry, you guys, for letting us be a little amateurish, because well, this is what we do.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. As Linda said, I'm Alisha Pangburn. I'm with Sort Your Nest, and I'm a professional organizer. So I thought I would just run through a few slides tonight and just talk a little bit about what a professional organizer is, who we work with, kind of what the organizing process is, and then some tips I've pulled together for your spring decluttering projects that I know you're going to be working on, because Linda has an event coming up in April that you get to participate in. So,
yes.
So without further ado, we'll get going here. So what exactly does a professional organizer do? A lot of people don't really know. They've heard the term. So we coach and we encourage our clients. We help them keep focus and moving forward and the momentum going with their organizing projects. We help them provide accountability. We make them show up and kind of, force the issue, get the work done. We collaborate with our clients to create organizing systems that work for their lifestyle. implement those ideas after we strategize together. We can help implement them and do the hard work. And then we hope to transfer knowledge to our clients, in the end, working myself out of a job, actually, is sort of the goal. Believe that or not.
Well, you
Okay.
know what's, and I'm just gonna chime in here. What I think is really awesome is so many times I see spouses where one is a saver, one is the one that kind of, I don't want to use the word hoard because it has a negative connotation, but maybe we save more than the other person does. And then you've got the other person who wants to throw everything away willy-nilly. I don't care what you say, and you're never going to use this again. And it's like, no, 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 I will. And it's nice to have somebody who is experienced, who doesn't have a horse in the race, and can
Exactly.
say, let's talk about this.
It's exactly, and that is true. Having someone come in that's objective and not tied to anything in the home and can kind of get a different perspective, it can help. Yeah, definitely, for sure. And then not only do we come into homes, so people may not know or realize that in this profession or industry, there's all kinds of things that we can organize. So professional organizers, I'll call POs for short, another acronym. We not only can we organize physical spaces like homes or offices, that type of thing. There's productivity coaches who organize time for people, work on time management skills and workflows, photos, paper. A lot of people struggle with paper. Your digital life, digital desktop, that can be a mess too, right? Even though your screen's turned off, you turn it on and whoa, looks like a bomb went off there. So
Wait, are you saying that having like 30 tabs open is a bad thing?
I know. Well, although maybe I shouldn't show you my tabs right now, but yeah. But just
Those who
helping,
live in glass houses.
Yeah,
Where I'm not
exactly.
throwing any stones here.
No judgment here, that's for sure. We also can help people moving, as we talked about before, helping them downsize. Some organizers pack and then unpack after and settle into their new home. Estate sales, some organizers specialize in that. If you find yourself inheriting an estate and you need to clear it out, there's organizers who help with that. And even finances, so they can help organize finances. Yes, Linda.
Okay. So, okay. I know that I specialize in moves since I help people buy and sell real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And and I have awesome movers that I love to refer to my clients because they are, they do exactly what I need them to do. Now, do you work, because you talked about this, do you also work maybe, because I don't want you maybe having to pack everything up, but do you also help people get things ready so that
Yes.
you can then help to direct the mover
Yes.
so that you go, okay, so this is going to go here and this is going to go here, and like labeling the boxes so that they all get to the right room? And
Yes, we can help with that. And it depends on the organizer. Some are what are called move managers, and they kind of do the whole process from start to finish. I don't do a lot of the packing myself anymore. I usually rely on the movers to do a lot of the packing, but some of the easy stuff in the house, yeah. And trying to get it in an organized fashion and for them to think about when it's on the other side and coming off the truck. And then a lot of people just need to downsize before they move so they can save money, because you're going to have to do it one way or another. So it's better if they have the time to do it before. So they're not taking up all the space on the truck, and then it will make it easier to unpack on the other side.
well, and in case people don't realize this, movers charge based on poundage. And I like to share stories of clients and family members. And yeah, it's painful when you know that someone has paid literally thousands and thousands of dollars to move stuff that they're going to throw away. I
Yes,
don't want that for people.
exactly. No, it's very true. Um, and in addition to, looking at it this way, what is organized? Some professional organizers also specialize in techniques like feng shui or KonMari, those methods. And as far as who we work with, I mean, all populations. We work with, college students. I work with college kids. to busy working professionals, to busy families who are just, crazed with all the kid schedules and everything going on. Seniors, widowed people. There's people with brain-based conditions like ADHD or chronic disorganization, hoarding tendencies, as we talked about. People who are physically impaired, who can't do some of the hard work and they need
Right,
help
yeah.
doing that. Yeah. Or just people who are overwhelmed and just need good ideas on how to organize. So like we talked about before, someone new coming into your space may see it in a different way and have suggestions that you hadn't thought of before. So that's sort of a general overview of different
Top view.
ways. Yeah, exactly, that we help people.
Cool.
And so the organizing process. So I thought I would dive into this a little bit, keep it pretty top level. This is an acronym from sort your nest. Just sort of a general idea if you're going to go through an organizing project. The first thing that's great to do is sort your stuff. And you sort it, you get all the like with like. So if you're doing your closet, for example, maybe pull all your jeans out and all your t-shirts and get everything like with like, so you can actually see how much you have. It just makes it a lot easier for the next step, which is offload. This is often the hardest, and I help a lot of clients with this stuff because it's just hard. People, we are attached to our things. So making decisions about what to keep and what to let go of. And then when you're offloading things and actually letting it go out the door, trying to, figure out, are you going to donate it? Can it be recycled? Do you put it in the trash? Do you want to sell it? Is it documents that need to be shredded? That kind of stuff. So that's sort of like the second level. And then when you've decided, you've gone through everything, now it's time to put it back. So you now get the chance and opportunity to reimagine your space and think about what you want the space to be to you. How do you want it to function? Should you create zones? What is your lifestyle? Just trying to figure out maybe the best way to organize it. And that's always fun.
How does your brain organize things? How do you think about things? Do you know?
I think that's what I try to get from the client is how do they think about things and what is going to make sense to them and what's going to get them to put it back where it belongs. Because part of this is finding a place for everything. So if you can create a home for all of your stuff, it makes it so much easier to put it back where it belongs if it has a place.
Well, and for me personally, and this is where I'm going to kind of lean in. I think it's like it's learning the new habit and creating it so to me it's the KISS method. It's keep it simple,
Yep.
silly. And doing it so that it's comfortable and you're willing to keep yourself organized, and whether it be using containers to keep things organized, whether it's in the kitchen or the bathroom or whatever. It's amazing how sometimes a little basket, a plastic basket, can transform a whole area.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And what you said about habits, that's kind of moving into my next step is, so when you're done and you've created this masterpiece and you're feeling the calm and less chaos in your life from your, finishing your project, it doesn't really end there. It doesn't magically stay that way. You have to tend to it and water it and feed it and practice it and create new habits that hopefully you can maintain, and then you can truly enjoy it. Sometimes you need to tweak it along the way. You got to, sometimes something changes, life changes. That didn't quite work the way you thought it. Yeah, exactly. So it's okay. You can kind of change it as time goes on, but the idea is to create new habits. So hopefully you can keep it up. So that's kind of just a quick overview of organizing. And then the next thing, so I pulled together some decluttering tips for your spring decluttering project. So you can be all ready to go in a few weeks to bring your stuff to Linda. So the first thing,
I want your junk.
Yeah. The first thing a lot of people struggle with is kind of where and how to start, which is why they often don't start. So a couple pointers I would say is plan and prioritize. So schedule time, make yourself a priority. You deserve it. This is self-care for yourself, and stick to it. So, and if it's a big project that you want to work on, then try, if you can, to get a large chunk of time. You'll get more done. But bottom line, taking a step forward is the most important thing. So even if it's only an hour, 1 hour is better than no hours. And then next, divide and conquer. So if it's a huge project that you know is going to take a long time and it's so overwhelming you can't get started, then just break it down into small bites. Whatever you think you can handle, set achievable goals for yourself. So set yourself up with success. Because if you feel successful in what you're doing, you'll be more motivated to keep chipping away at it. You know, after you finally start a project, you're like, oh, okay, I think I can do this. So just getting started and setting yourself up with success are things that I think are valid. Now, where to start, it kind of depends on your project, but if you're living in an environment where there's safety hazards or concerns, you might start there. So you're living in a safe environment. Or maybe you have a really big pain point. It's that one closet that's been driving you crazy, or that junk drawer, or that room, whatever. Maybe starting there is going to help you emotionally. Or maybe there's low-hanging fruit throughout your house. Maybe you could go through the whole space and just by doing a few things make a big difference. That might be a great way to start and keep yourself motivated and moving forward. And then,
well, it could be, it's fun. I will say that COVID, everything stopped during COVID, and that in that April, we weren't able to go out and show real estate or do anything. We're kind of, our hands were tied. And my office was my pain point. And but the whole family would just toss things in my office. And one Sunday morning, I'm like, that's it, I'm done. And I got big garbage bags and just, that's it.
awesome.
It was great. It was, and it felt so good.
I was just going to ask you
cathartic.
that. Yeah, it is cathartic.
It was amazing. I just prepare to let it go. I'll tell you, you let that stuff go and it's like you are free and the wings are on your back and you're ready to fly. It was fantastic.
Physical clutter equates to emotional clutter. So getting rid of the physical can help you emotionally too. There's a connection there for sure. So if you've kind of planned and you've come up with your project and you still just don't think you can do it, I'm saying phone a friend. See if you can have some friends over and help you, or get the family involved. You have kids, make it a family affair. Maybe you can do pizza after, or do something like that. It might be more fun for you or easier to do if you're with people, and kind of socializing as you go, trying to make it fun. And
as long as it's not too much socializing.
Right, exactly. You got to keep on task, though. You do have to keep on task. So that's why people often hire a professional organizer. So someone, like we said, who's objective. And then so the next thing is get ready to let it go. Like you were just saying about how you grab the trash bags and recycle bags and then just started your project. Same kind of thing as what I was going to say is that, very tactically grab a trash can and a recycle can, a shred and a donate box. If you're going to sell, maybe a different box for that. And then just start sorting and going through the decision-making process. And as you're deciding what you're going to let go of, so for recycling, we can't put everything into our recycle can, but there are a lot of city, county, even local retailers who participate in recycling various things like paint or light bulbs, batteries, stain or rip textiles, e-waste, medical waste. You can drop your hazardous waste off in San Jose.
Yeah.
So there's, if you look around, you can find ways to recycle those things. And then of course, shred your confidential papers. Donate, lots you can donate nowadays. So consider that instead of the trash. Clothing, home decor, furniture, and then selling, go for it, sell it. You may not get a lot, but it might give you something back. You could do an old-fashioned garage sale. You could sell online or go to consignment, or there's a lot of online auction sites now. So there's various ways you can sell your things.
Well, and I think the thing that I want to put out there too, though, is also look at your timelines, because depending on whether this is like, oh, we were here for a long time and it's just time to clean up, so to speak, or we're moving and we now have a timeline.
Right.
I mean, don't go. I've had clients where they try to, I'm going to try to donate this, I'm going to try and sell this, and they just spend so much time for so little return.
Right.
And there are challenges because there's so much, for example, furniture. that is out in the market that people don't want. I mean, and it's a whole separate seminar to talk about
It is.
the generation who has millennial children. The
Mhm.
millennial children don't want our stuff.
They don't.
You know,
Mhm.
except for my Noguchi coffee table, nobody else in my family wants anything from my house.
Right.
So it's important to also measure time as part of your cost and the return that you're going to get, because if you've got a timeline, and I mean, I always encourage my sellers, especially if you're thinking about selling next year, start right now when you're
Absolutely.
not stressed. You know,
Absolutely.
go through a room a month, you know, where it's a
Absolutely.
casual, leisurely pace.
Yes.
I had a client one time who was a retired military officer, and I met with him in September, and we're going to sell the house in February. And I'm like, this is what you need to do. And when I came back in February, my jaw just fell. I'm like, man, he goes, you give me an assignment, I'm done. And
I
go,
love it.
yes, sir. Oh,
I
it was
love it.
awesome.
I definitely agree with you. If you think you're going to move in a couple years and you've been living in your home for 40 years and you've collected all these things that you think you're going to let go of, I would just start, like you said, I would start now and just chip away at it. So it's not
It's
stressful.
kind of like having a party.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, having a party for me is a good reason to get really cleaned up and to get, you know, get stuff at the public areas all cleaned up.
Right.
Same thing.
Right. Exactly. And then back to your point about donating and all of that versus selling. There are some haulers now who will kind of do it all. So that's always an option that I can recommend too. Who will come pick things up, who will donate what they can, recycle what they can, and trash at the end, which is nice. It's nice to see that that's kind of coming out on the market. Okay, so next up on the decluttering tips. So as you're decluttering, so we were talking about before you start. So now you're in the decluttering process. And this is kind of where you're going to declutter and reimagine your space. Don't forget to clean as you go. So you're pulling everything out of the cabinets. It's perfect time to make it sparkling clean. That just feels so good when you're putting things back that you know everything's been clean. So clean as you go. And then as we were talking about before, when you're putting things back and reimagining your space, containers are really helpful, and they don't have to be the high-end expensive stuff. It could be an Amazon box or a shoe box, whatever you have lying around. But the idea is for everything to have a defined space. So, and that's how you're defining where that stuff is going to go. And when it starts to overflow, then it might be time to go through it. So, and it's much easier to put things back when they have a home. So that's kind of the idea behind the containers. And then I'm kind of a label fiend. Don't ask my family about it, but I believe in labels, especially if you forget where things are supposed to go. And it not only helps you, but it helps everyone in the whole family remember where things go. So labels can be very effective. And then the other thing people forget about a lot of times is vertical space. You have this whole wall that you might be able to, put together a rack and put, organize it vertically. So you can get a lot more storage space that way, or, over a door, that type of thing. So I'm always looking for vertical space options when I'm helping clients
Absolutely.
organize. Yeah, for sure. And then lastly, yay, you're done after. You get to tend to your new space. That is the key, is to keep it up. So, and if you do keep it up, I think you will enjoy your transformation. So those are my quick decluttering tips for you.
You know, I think that I love that. And I'm going to actually, if we can, now I got to figure this out again.
Did I stop my share now? And then
yes,
this is
why don't
just
you
how
guys
to
stop the
contact me.
share?
Okay.
Yeah. What's really helpful is that it's to let things be kind of get rid of it. If you don't like it, don't hold. If you think you're going to look at it next week, when my dad passed away, he had so many National Geographic magazines because that was the thing to save back in the day. And my mom took them to the library, and they're like, honey, we've got so many. It's like it's all well and good, but if you think you're saving something if you're not looking at it, don't save it.
Yeah.
There's so many things that people hold on to, and this is Linda, living in a glass house. I'm not throwing stones because I'm as guilty as anybody else is, but it's, I see it with my clients, and it's amazing how stressed they get. And, I had a client who was trying so hard to pack the whole house that she'd lived in for 40 years.
Mhm.
And she was so stressed, and the movers were coming this Friday, and I can just see her just,
Yep.
freaking out. And I reached over and I touched her hand, and I'm like, you don't get an award for packing everything yourself.
Right. Right.
And that afternoon, she called the mover. She called her girlfriend. She's like, I need your help. Come help me pack. And it was like, it just melted
Yes.
off of her shoulders.
Yes. Oh, that would be very stressful. Very stressful.
Well, and it's hard. It's heartbreaking because, I don't want to see people pay to move things that they
Right.
don't want.
Absolutely.
I love your idea of getting the kids involved,
Mhm.
because sometimes, I never spoiled my kids, and I never bought them too many toys.
None of us do
Exactly.
that. None of us do that.
None of us do that. But, like every year before Christmas, wouldn't it be nice, kids, if you go through your closet and
Mhm.
find 3 things,
Yes.
5 things that you would like to give to somebody who may not be able to afford
Yes.
gifts?
It's a great idea. Love that idea.
Oh, and then remember, I will share one of my favorite gifts. This is for people with older parents. So if it's millennials with grandparents, I had a older friend who had 4 sets of china, and she was complaining to me that none of her kids wanted any of the china, and she had like
Mhm.
moms and grandmas and Aunt Susie's and and her own. And I go, why don't you make an 8-piece place setting
Yes.
using 2 of the plates from each one, and then have like a little picture so you know that this one was grandma's and this one was yours. And there are ways that you can declutter but still preserve
Right.
some of the memories.
Right. And that you're honoring that. If it's something that's special to you, you're honoring it, you're using it, it's out, it's not in a box hidden in the attic for 30 years. So I love that idea, because I love keeping things that are sentimental is great, and as long as they have meaning to you, but they should be being used or utilized, rather
Yeah.
than just hidden somewhere. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. There's so many aspects to what we have that it's to hold on to everything is so difficult. And whether we are trying to save photos, or we're trying to, this is whether it's for my kids stuff that I want to save because it's sentimental, or it's my parents' things that I wanted to hold on to. I mean, I can't tell you how many hours I spent looking at slides that who's that? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Or it's
Right.
it's like, or an ugly picture of a landscape that
Right. But yep, out the door. Yep.
out the door.
Absolutely. Well, at least we're in a digital world. If you can get the photos and slides down to a smaller, you can now at least ship them off. You can have photo albums made, and then you just have a small book full of everything, and not boxes and boxes of photos that don't really mean anything to you. But that is a project in and of itself, especially if you're of the paper photo age, yeah.
Or you have boxes of them that you inherited from your family.
Exactly.
But one of my favorite tips, and it's interesting how many people don't know this, is that, and I am an Apple girl, I love Apple products, and I'm sure that Google does the exact same thing. You can go into your photos and search. So if you are tagging photos as you date them, whether it be, I want to search for all my pictures from my trip to Rome, I can type in Rome and it comes with all my Rome pictures. That's also a great way of, preserving your memories and sorting things. And
Yep.
I think, I don't know, I mean, if you have one takeaway, and I've got one thing I would suggest, and then I'll throw it to you. My one thing is do it constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Evaluate stuff constantly, because it's amazing from the mail that we get, we're bombarded.
Yes, we're inundated everywhere we turn. I agree.
Everywhere we turn. So stay on it as much as you possibly can. That's my biggest takeaway is the more you can do on an ongoing basis, the better
Yes.
off you are.
And I think that's the key to the ultimate success. Once you set yourself up kind of reasonably where you want it, like I had said, is to create good habits and keep them going. And it does take constant work and constant reevaluating. So I agree with that. I know a takeaway just in general for decluttering, I feel like the hardest step, like I said, for clients is the letting go. And it's okay to not keep everything, but to really, I mean, I have strategies and questions that you can ask yourself, but probably my favorite one is this adding value to who you are, your life today? And really think about
Yeah,
that and really think about it. And you don't need to save an attic and a garage full of boxes that you never go through. And, for kids stuff, talk to your kids, especially if they're older, have the honest conversations. I do think the best gift, like a senior can give their adult child is to have gone through their things and not leave them with a house full of stuff that then they have to go through. So start talking
I
to your
agree.
adult kids about, what they really want, what they're interested in. And if they don't, it might be time to let it go. And if it's important to you and you're keeping it for you, then how are you honoring it in your home or in your physical space?
Well, and conversely, don't guilt your children
Right.
into,
Yes.
well, don't you want this, don't
Yes.
you? Why don't you want this? No, 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 no.
Right.
It's okay to not want something. I
Right.
know I know that I thought that most of my parents' stuff was I didn't, it wasn't my style, it wasn't my taste,
Right.
they loved it, that's all great. And I'm sure that my children feel the same way, that my style, except for my one coffee table that's already got a big note on there for who gets it, is, they're going, yeah, I don't want your stuff. That's not going to fit in my house, or I don't like that color, or I don't like that style. So
Right.
it's,
Right.
don't,
What do your kids say about, and this is another thing I see a lot is parents, I mean, I'm not saying I haven't done some of this myself, but parents saving every piece of artwork, piece of paper, every award, everything their children did growing up to pass on to them. And then it turns
wait,
out
we don't want to have that wall from Meet the Parents where they had the wall honoring, their son and their 10th
I
grade
mean, maybe to
trophy.
each his own, but I'm feeling like most of the time the kids don't want all this stuff. But I think keeping some of it's fun. And you
Yeah,
can make books every year out of the artwork and that type of thing. You could save a bin of toys, that were special that maybe they want to give to their kids. Um, but yeah, having
but
that honest conversation with them is key, especially as they get older. Maybe teenagers don't really know, but they probably are not going to want it all. So I think if you start off as a young family and kind of model that behavior and try to not keep everything, that's a good thing to teach your kids that it's okay to let go. Um, and
well, and this just tells me that I think having a session with you, whether you are a young family, you are a family that the children have, flown the coop, we're empty
Yep.
nesters, or my generation is helping our parents in
Yes.
downsizing or whatever. There's value to the services that you bring to the table in every generation, because if you start them off young, this is like I
Hmm.
love working with first time buyers, because you
Right.
train them right the first time around, and then they know what to do the second and third time. So it's the
Uh-huh.
same thing. Train that family early on how to organize their lives and what works
Hmm.
and some people are just natural
Mm,
organizers and some people
absolutely are.
aren't.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, it's great. I've met a lot of really nice people. It's part of one of the best things about my job is getting to meet a lot of great people and connect with them and help. I love helping people. Yeah, it's been a really rewarding career actually so far.
That's awesome. Sean, do we have any questions that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, so a couple of questions in Q&A. Um, so where would you start the project? Would you pick like a smaller room, or would you think of it as like a whole house project?
I think every situation's different. There's no one answer or one way to tackle it. I think it depends on the client, what their struggle is. Ideally, eventually it would be great for you to think of the whole home and how you want it to function. But often the project is going to start with, like I said before, usually starts with the biggest pain point, whatever it is that is really, really getting them down or bothering them. But then as you start going through, say it's a room, you realize that each room is connected in different ways. And so you kind of have to go through the whole house to figure out how that room should be functioning. But usually it starts off with a project like that. I will get hired to help with maybe a pantry or a kitchen or the garage, but the garage and the house interrelate. So it's kind of one of those things that can sometimes morph into other areas of the home, even though we start with one. But yeah, usually I'm called for a specific area. So we start with that and then kind of see how it goes.
Very
Well,
nice.
and I'll just chime in for a second and say that if you bite off more than you can chew, oftentimes it's human nature, you just stop
Right.
and you just don't know what to do and you just let it be and then you never get it done. It's kind of like saying, I'm going to lose X number of pounds.
Right.
As opposed to, okay, I'm going to try and lose 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And take it in small bites, whatever those goals are.
Yep.
Know yourself best.
Exactly. And
You
having
could
someone,
outline.
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say you can outline how you want to start.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Another good question we're getting is, what are the rules for keeping tax documents? Like for papers in general, we want to hold on to it, but then all of a sudden, why do we have a tax document from 1999?
Oh yeah. I'm what I always tell my clients is to ask your CPA or financial advisor on document retention. I could probably send some links, but I think the general rule, it just generally speaking, is 7, but don't quote me on that because I think it depends on your own personal situation. I don't know if you have side businesses or property, you might be able to speak to that, rental properties, anything like that. I'm that I can't speak to, but generally speaking, I think they say 7 years to keep all the supporting documents.
That's what I've heard as well.
Mhm,
Thank goodness that we do have electronic files now, so that makes it a lot
mhm.
easier.
Exactly. Yeah. Easy to look up things digitally now. Thank goodness.
And then do you have like a specific tip to kind of help release something that you feel super sentimental about? Or like other than
Oh,
like China or
that's a great question.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the situation. I feel like if it's something that is that important to the person, and they're really, really struggling, and it depends on what their goals are, what kind of environment are we working in? Do we know that we have to get rid of so much stuff and most of it's going to have to go? Or is it, this one thing that is just really important? If it's that important to them, then I might encourage them to keep that one thing and maybe figure out some other things. So I am always trying to figure out, what is important to the client. I'm not there to tell them, that they have to do anything actually, but I'm there to help them keep in line with their organizing goals and what they want out of a project. So if it was something that it was that important and sentimental and it means that much to them, I would ask them how they're going to honor it and see what they come up with for that. And we can talk through it.
I would think at minimum, even just taking a picture of it and maybe putting that, depending on the girth of the item that we're talking
Yes.
about, maybe it's something that's a piece of furniture. You could take a picture of that furniture and put it someplace as a point of honor.
Absolutely. Pictures are great that way. Like I was saying, you could do a lot with pictures and make photo books of all kinds of things in your life and then have it at your fingertips to flip through and look at some of those old things without having to physically store them anymore.
So I will say that my memories of things, especially sensory things, is so strong. And it's not my grandparents had a window box that they had plants inside the house. And and they had a corner fireplace that I loved. And I don't have a picture. I'm sure, well, there might be a picture in one of the boxes that I have not
gone
done.
through.
but in my mind, it's as clear as day.
Right. And it's all here too, right? The memories up here. Yeah.
Yeah. So that house lives in my memory forever. And
because
And
that's
that's
really where
expensive.
that really is where your memory is. But then it can be drawn upon by looking at the things. But
And sharing it with
yeah,
others
and
too.
sharing it with others for sure, and sharing its story and what it meant to you.
Yeah, let's try to get like 2 more questions in.
Oh,
How
yeah.
would you create more space in a kitchen that doesn't have a lot of storage?
Yeah, that's it. Boy, once again, it depends. I would have to see the space and create more storage. Well, of course, I'd look for vertical space. I'd look for doors that could be utilized. Because vertically you can definitely, sometimes various organizing projects can help you utilize vertical space even within a cabinet or being able to reach the back of a cabinet. So being able to use the space as efficiently as possible. If you've exhausted all of those, you've done everything you can, then you might still have too much stuff for the space. So then we'd have to talk about what to do about that. Maybe there's some
So
items that can be let go.
I'm going to chime in here because I am a closet kitchen designer. I love this stuff.
Mhm.
If it's your own home, I would make sure that you utilize things like drawers or pull out shelves. Use again stacking things using that vertical space, and I would also pots and pans can be one of my vices. I love to cook. And lids are the bane of
Oh,
my existence.
lids,
So
those darn
try to
lids.
so try to find sets of items that have fewer components in them. So you
Yes,
still need certain size pots, but maybe you can find a set that has only one lid, because how many times are you cooking with
right.
more than 2 pots and 2 lids?
I agree. I completely agree. If if you have enough space, it really does depend on the kitchen, but if you can get a rack to stand them up. Yeah, and I think a client of mine has like a universal lid that is supposed to fit
See?
many sizes. So that's pretty,
Yes, yes.
that's a creative thing.
That that and do not buy single use items. So, you don't have to get whatever. I can't, like a potato masher. You could use a blender or whatever.
Hmm.
Try to buy things that you can use for multiple tasks. That's another
Absolutely.
thing that you can eliminate having to buy a specific item.
Right. And I think for a small kitchen, I think that's where it's important probably to go through this whole organizing, sorting process. Because if you pull it all out and look at everything you have in the kitchen, you might find that you have, I don't know, 7 whisks. Maybe you don't need that many. Maybe you just need, except for you, Linda, but maybe you just need 1 or 2. So, going through that exercise could be really beneficial to see if you really need everything that you have. And if you do, then you got to figure out creative ways. Is there space in there to add another, standalone cabinet or a shelf or any way you can utilize a vertical space?
Yeah.
Lovely. Now, last question is,
Hmm.
do you have any advice on to declutter like at a regular cadence, like a weekly thing? Because when you're busy, it's kind of really hard to stay on top of these schedules. Like, what's your advice?
Well, I guess I'm not sure where they're coming from. Is it something where they have to do a whole project? If it's a project and then to maintain, yeah, I would say weekly. I would say if you can weekly, kind of go about maintaining your space. But to start, which is kind of where I usually come in, is they're trying to start the project. That might be a little bit more repetition at first and a little more hours at first to kind of go through the whole process. But I think after that, depending what you're trying to maintain, I think you should set aside some time every week just to kind of keep it in check and look around and keep it going. And you can put time on your calendar, like I said, actually schedule, pencil it in, a time that works for you throughout the week, and then show up for yourself, show up for your appointment with yourself. But yeah.
Well,
Lovely.
and personally, I like rainy days.
There you go. Yep.
Something where it's like you're kind of trapped in the house, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do? Because I don't want to go outside and go schlepping through the rain. It's like, oh, this is a good excuse.
Hmm.
Or maybe it's you've got an extra few hours, because I don't know if I would be able to do it weekly. Like,
Hmm.
I know I wouldn't,
Well,
but I but even to try to do it monthly, where it's like, okay, and
Right.
give yourself a reward. I think you give yourself a reward.
Right. Yeah. Give yourself a
know?
little reward. Motivate yourself to do it. And I think it depends what you're talking about. Are you talking about weekly looking at your kitchen drawers and pantry? Maybe not. But are you talking about going through your paper and paying bills and all of that? Yes, I would say weekly you should for sure. So it sort of depends what area you're talking about. But
Yeah,
regular
like your
maintenance.
closet.
Yeah, like your
Closets would be
closet.
seasonal.
Seasonal
I
is a
mean,
great way to do it. Yep. And so that would be every few months. So it kind of depends what area you're talking about, but scheduling in regular maintenance is a really good idea. But yeah, if it's your closet, maybe not every week. That might be excessive. But if it's your bills, yes, every week.
Oh yes, well, I have e-pay, whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome. Does that cover all the questions, Sean?
Yeah, that's kind of the most of them.
All right, great.
You had some great questions,
Yeah,
and
thank you for the questions.
so we will be, including, so we're going to be posting this on the Milestone Realty Facebook page and our web page. Alisha will have a link so she can post it on her social media and web page. And we're going to include, Alisha actually put together a full slide deck. So we'll be including that out there as well. And then for all of my clients, for all of Alisha's clients, I am actually hosting what I lovingly call Dumpster Day. I met somebody from my neighborhood, and she's like, "You look familiar." I go, "Well, I'm a realtor in Montevideo and Almaden," and she's like, "Oh, you're the dumpster lady." And I'm going, "Yes, I'm the dumpster lady." So, April 6th, we are doing a dumpster day. So if you reach out to me at linda@milestone.com, and our information will be at the end of this video. We will be able to send you the information so you can sign up, and you can't bring to a dumpster chemicals and paints and big furniture, that
Right.
kind of thing. But those broken chairs that you have sitting in your backyard, the floating shelves that my son reminded me are sitting in the closet that I have not used in 10 plus years. All that stuff. It's, I do the dumpster day for myself, but I also like to give it as a community service and a service for my clients as well. So we'll be offering that in a couple of weeks. So, please
great event.
Get
Very
into the
generous to your
habit.
community. Yeah, that's great.
Get in the habit. And Alisha, you've been wonderful. Thank you
so
so much for
such a great conversation with you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the opportunity. It was really fun.
Oh, it was our pleasure. Thank you so much. And I will just say, and if anybody, is thinking about, buying or selling in real estate, I've been in the business now for 21 years, and Milestone Realty would love to help you and talk to you about what opportunities are out there, because it's a fun market. I gotta tell you, there's lots to talk about. So anyway, but that's it for the commercial. Thank you all so much. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, you guys all take care.
Bye.